Open it. Keep it on. Okay.
How are you doing? Good evening.
Good evening, sunshine.
Good evening. Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
What is it?
Mazel.
Mazel tov.
You got engaged? Mazel tov.
No, you didn't read the high school message?
No?
What happened?
In honor of your wife's
Mazel tov.
Grandmother's your side.
oh, yeah, it's not Mazel tov.
Mazel tov.
Okay.
His name will leave.
I'm sorry for being so rude.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming to our YouTube channel. We are very proud to have you. Today we're doing it in honor of Chama Bas Dvora Leah. Sorry, Bas Menachem Mendel, which is my wife's grandmother.
Your grandfather?
And we're going to be learning about making education great again.
Making America great again.
Not America, but education. America is part of it. If you don't have education, you don't have America.
Making Judaism great again.
So when Judaism will become great again, we will have everything beautiful. Now the question is this working yet? I don't know. Is it working?
I'm cracking. It's on a crack. Alright.
Okay, so it seems like the channel's working. Yilev, you want to go on your channel and see if it's working on your phone?
What's the name again?
Roots for Life is the channel.
Good.
This is make education great again. Okay, so as us Jews, we believe that every week there is a parsha, a biblical part of the week where we split up a biblical part of the Torah and we read it.
This used or new?
This parsha, this week's portion of the Torah is Vayigash. It starts off with Yehuda fighting with Joseph, and saying, I will not be able to live without the Jewish nation. Without my brother, there is no life. Without my brother, I'm dead. Without my brother, I'm nothing.
That's right.
I made some good schnitzel over there if you want to bring it.
Yeah.
And some potatoes on the stove. And this forks and spoons over there.
Yes.
For you guys on the internet, I'm sorry. You'll have to show up.
That's
Okay, so this week's Parsha, we talk about a very interesting topic. We talk about the Jewish people going to Egypt and the preparations that were involved in it and how they were able to get out. Could you keep the door where they could open it by themselves? So the first thing we have to know is the Jewish people ensured the yeshivas, houses of study, stayed open in Mitzrayim, despite it being the most difficult exile in the Jewish history. Press the button in the inside. Show them how to keep the door open.
You can't open the door?
So, how we must commit ourselves to learning in the yeshiva environment. So it starts off the parsha. Vigash Yehuda. Yehuda got very angry when Joseph said that Benjamin stole the goblet and that he would have to go to jail. After Yehuda promised his kids' lives, promised his entire world to come, and he was very afraid for this world and the next world. And you see throughout the Parsha, Yosef tests the brothers to see if they overcame what they did to him, if they would never do such a sin again. And then eventually he says, I am Joseph, I am alive. I am Yosef, I'm alive. Is my father still alive? First thing he says is, my father's still alive. You want to teach this, Eva?
Stay away.
So we start off in the first Sichak of the Kutei Sichos. Chelek Aleph per Parshas Vayigash Gimel Ches. Hey, better to do it on top. I don't know how kosher the inside is. This sixth parsha speaks about Yaakov and his children going down to Mitzrayim. It's the beginning of all downfalls. The beginning of all the problems to the Jewish people is when we went down to Egypt. From Pasuk Yehuda Shalach v'Gomer. Oiris Lefanov Goshno.
He's
Bergish Rashi. In Nemen for Medrish. Lisokin by Beis Talmud. Shemeshemen Titzei Hoiro. So what does the Rebbe say right at the beginning? The Torah tells us that this is the beginning of the entire journey. And yet, what does happen before he goes to Mitzrayim? He sends Yehuda, his son, the leader. And he says, open a yeshiva. Yeah, next to the stove on the right hand side, on the bottom. And before he went down, he says, prepare yeshivas in the land of Goshen, so that you would be ready when the rest of the family arrived. So Hashem instructed Yaakov to go to Mitzrayim. He says, yes, go to Mitzrayim. Of course, before he does anything, he asks God. He promised him, I will go down with you, and also go when you live. So Hashem promises the Jewish people that he's going to come with us to Egypt and he's going to leave with us. So why does Yaakov have to prepare yeshivas, prevention centers, rehabs, all these different things? Why does he have to make these things for the Jewish nation before they even get there? Why does he need education buildings?
Why does he need? That's the question.
If he's anyways going to get out.
Why, while he's there, he doesn't need?
He doesn't need it if God's going to take him out anyways. Nevertheless, Yaakov worked to ensure that there would be yeshivas set up upon his arrival. Yaakov understood
Well, are you sure that's the question?
that yeshivas are the foundation of the Jewish people. Take a sikha.
Which sikha is it?
Sikha Aleph, Begish Gimel. We started from Gimel.
Which Vaiga? Gimel?
The yeshivas that Yaakov established on the journey remain active throughout the entire exodus of Egypt, throughout the generations of the Jewish people. Even during the very difficult Galus in Mitzrayim, there were always yeshivas where Jews studied the Torah. For yeshivas, even when they were slaves, at the end of a long day of journey, they were working a whole day, they were beaten, they would come and they would learn Torah, mamish. They would come and they would sit there and learn. They would listen to the classes of the tribe of Levi. So the yeshiva is what kept the Jews alive in Egypt. This is the secret. Education is the secret to sustenance. Education is the secret to life.
Knowledge is power.
B'shas der Eibishter hat gehas Yaakov gehen in Mitzrayim. Hat Yaakov bebrengt früher von as dorten soll sein Yeshivas. Agab der Eibishter hat gesagt, as will mit gehen, anachi arachi mach mit Mitzrayim, anachi arachi gamalel. Und das wegen, from this we understand, hat Yaakov sich beamid gerät früher für Yeshivas und erst there is a ganzer mit Eibishter. The Yeshivas is the Yesod der Kayem von Eden. So the entire Yiddishkeit is based on one thing: learning in yeshiva. Because if you don't have yeshiva, if you don't have learning, you cannot be a Jew. There's a lot of people I know. They go to yeshiva for a few weeks or whatever. Then they say, okay, now I'm a religious Jew. I'm going to keep Shabbos and keep kosher. And the rest of the week, they don't learn any Torah whatsoever.
I just said Kodesh for a few weeks. Then I got prayed.
Forget it. I'm saying you still have to go to yeshiva once in a while. You still go every day. You go for an hour or whatever for a few times a week.
Like Yaakov, 14 years.
Good when you started when you were a kid.
14 years. Yaakov went to yeshiva for 14 years before he got married. But if you don't focus on learning, you have no life. You have no existence. Your family doesn't have existence. You don't have meaning in life. Because the whole entire being of a Yid is to learn. And we need it. We need this shit. Even if you don't learn in yeshiva, but your friend learns in yeshiva, and he tells you what he learns in yeshiva, that's also good. Because it affects you.
Can I rip it?
So, the Rebbe continues. Galus Mitzrayim. You want to read? And I'll translate. Galus Mitzrayim.
I thought you
Dalet.
only yeshivas.
Right
You
for
live
Dalet,
right
I just read it.
But you just read until is the Yesod on the Kiyum from Eden.
Okay, read, continue.
Und die Yeshivas, was Jakob Avinu hat
Seven months of it now.
gegründet, seinen Gewinn die ganze Zeit, was jeden seinen Gewinn in Mitzrayim, wie der Mama Razal sagen, Me'emein shal avisenu loi parshi yeshiva mehem, hayu b'Mitzrayim yeshiva imayim, shenemar lech v'asafta es ikne Yisrael.
You didn't warm it up?
You warm it up.
So the entire time that whoa, you're starting this again. So the entire time that the Yidden were in Mitzrayim, there were yeshivas. Like Razal say, from Mimen Shal Aviseinu, from the days of our fathers, it did not stop being a yeshiva. They were in Mitzrayim, there was a yeshiva with them, like it says. But to Moshe it says, go and gather the elders of the Jews, so that, meaning the teachers, so there was a yeshiva.
Listen, you delay.
Alright.
So what happened? So what's going on in your chapter?
They were saying how the entire time the Jews were in Egypt, they had yeshivas. Like Hashem told Moshe, like to go gather the elders, the sages, the people that taught from the Jews, Ziknei Yisrael. In alle Zeiten und alle Erte Vayiden seinen Gewinn, afilu in Golus Mitzrayim, was ist Gewinn, sei a schwerer Golus, seinen Gewinn Yeshivas, war man ist gesessen und gelernt Teura, weil die ganze Freie, Yeshivas seinen der Existenz von jüdische Volk. So I can understand. So I mean, every place that Jews were, even in the most hardest Galus and Galus Mitzrayim, Shverer Galus, they had yeshivas that they would sit and learn, like. So that yeshivas, like he said, the existence, exactly the same in Yiddish and English. The existence of the Jewish people is institutions of learning.
Why didn't Yosef need a yeshiva?
What?
Yosef was in Mitzrayim for a while without a yeshiva.
When he was stronger.
Yeah, that's why when
When it affected him, he ended up in jail.
Menashe and Ephraim, he was the
It's not his fault.
We hadn't had a yeshiva, we never had it.
alright, I'm up to the knowledge.
He learned by himself.
Okay, you want me to continue?
Okay, weiter. Says Golus Mitzrayim is given the Schwester Golus von alle Golusen. A viele von der Istere Golus. Mitzat Kamen. So Golus Mitzrayim was the worst and most difficult exile in the history of the world.
Even more than the current exile.
Even more than the current one. Even worse than
No way.
what happened in this generation, previous generation. It was the worst possible exile for the entire Jewish nation.
For a few reasons.
For a few reasons. Number one, Golus Mitzrayim is given there for Matan Torah. Golus Mitzrayim is before Matan Torah. We didn't have the Torah to keep us alive. We didn't have the mitzvahs to keep us alive. We were just Jews. We didn't have nothing. There was nothing to preserve us.
You had circumcision.
That's about it. We had no. We didn't even have circumcision. Some of us. Only some of us had. That's a good point. Only Abraham had a circumcision, and Yaakov had a circumcision, but not all
Only the
the
Levium.
all the Levites had
Yosef?
the Kohens,
All
the
the
Levites.
tribes,
But every other tribe did not have a bris. Number two,
So all the sons of Yosef of Avram did have.
Abraham had a
All the
bris.
12 tribes had Israel.
Yeah, yes, but later on they did not have brises.
When in
At that time, bris was a gift. You have to have earned it. It's like you got wings, you got your bris. The people didn't get bris right away.
Ishmael got a bris.
Okay, but
The
not.
whole Egypt got a bris.
Yeah.
That's
Depends on the time.
Then the brothers had a bris.
But Power didn't allow people to have bris.
What are you talking about? Yosef made everyone get a bris.
That was before, not after.
Oh yeah.
Well, is it in the desert that they didn't have a bris in Mitzrayim?
It says in the desert there shall be blood. Why? The blood in the desert was from the circumcision.
No,
There's only
bris.
one, right?
All the people had brisim in the desert.
A lot of blood.
They
I
said
don't know, I
they
didn't
did
know
it
the
to
weeks.
it only in the beginning.
When they left Egypt.
Yeah, but the whole time they didn't do it.
Okay, when they
That's
all
it,
left
and
Egypt,
that's why
they-
Yeshua had to do them again.
So they all did a bris before
next generation.
before they left Egypt. So people did not have any mitzvahs before. So what was to preserve the Yidden?
Agam is if the malt.
Agam hazeh, orch de melt, hat men gelernt Torah, wie es ist zu sein von de viel, meinem Razon. So although they may have reached a tremendous spiritual height through their Torah learning, there was still a limit on how high they were able to reach, for physical creation, by definition, is limited. Their Torah was on a physical level. It wasn't on a spiritual level yet, because, I mean, it was spiritual, but it wasn't into actuality.
And their Torah was on a physical level?
No,
It
it
was
was always.
limited.
I mean, it was very limited.
Uh-huh.
It was.
Didn't have the koch and stuff.
I think it did have a spiritual thing to it, but it wasn't implemented into reality. You would learn it, but there was no
Right.
there was
No
no
change in
reality
it,
to
yeah.
it. It was like learning about the Egla Rufa, you know.
Doing.
There's no practicality. There's nothing that can affect you.
It says is das ne bis shirish an Ephraim, aber nit heche. Meaning they were learning like yeah, to understand the shirish of the Ephraim up to that level, but not higher.
His life.
Where's the
Where's the clouds? For
where's the
background?
clouds of glory?
No, you know it's background with the clouds.
So
That's just
for a physical okay. However, since once the Torah was given on Har Sinai, Hashem's infinite Torah learning was an infinite power. They gave the Torah student the power to connect the previously inaccessible levels of spirituality and be able to bring it down to this world. We were not able to reach certain levels of spirituality. We're not able to bring certain things into actuality. We were just able to learn and try to implement stuff in our lives, but it didn't really bring into actuality the words. So we were very limited in our spiritual level, and yet we were in a full exile where we couldn't keep anything, where we couldn't connect with our God properly. If you have the Torah and somebody doesn't let you do anything, but you have the knowledge of the Torah and you can implement it in your lives, so nobody can affect you. No matter how bad the exile is, you're able to overcome it.
But back then they didn't have it. They didn't have it that level.
No.
Right? Well, so that's another reason why Galus and Strime was so bad, right? That's what I'm trying to bring out.
During the Jewish people's exile in Mitzrayim, this tremendous gift has not yet been given. So it's the first time in history when Jews were in exile and they didn't have a Torah. They didn't have the Torah, they didn't have the knowledge of the Torah. B. Galus Mitzrayim is given the erste Galus Be'in. There was never an exile before this. The Jews have never experienced where they didn't have freedom to do whatever they were used to doing, whether to serve Hashem or whatever. It's the first time in history they weren't able to do freedom. Complete freedom.
mitzvahs?
Whatever.
The
The first time they
Galus,
were not
yeah.
in control of themselves. That's the second reason. The Mela is das Gewen sehr schwer zu übertragen. Huh? Übertragen. Wie mehr soll ist wenn es trifft sich bei einem und meglegt Rahman Aslam. Ist der erste Mal, dass sei nicht schwer über der Tergen, aber als der Zebel im Glick treffen sich bei ihm nach einmal oder so, einmal is Amal, Rahman Aslam. Oh, ist nicht, ist bei ihm noch einmal, Rahman Aslam. Is schön nicht also schwer. So,
Very well.
I think what
the second reason is
he's saying is that it's the first time.
Need for stays.
if it happens again, it is as challenging as the first time. Not a challenge for them. So the first time something happens in life, it's not as it's very much more difficult than when it happens again. When a woman gives birth one time, it's the worst pain in the world. But second time, she knows what she's getting into. It's not gonna be as painful. It's not gonna hurt as much. She knows how to handle it.
And after that, you can have as many as you want.
Yeah, I mean, the first time is always the worst. When somebody's told that they're gonna get smacked, and they don't know how it's gonna feel, they're gonna shake. Once they know the feeling, they know how to bounce back.
What's ongluk?
Ongeluk?
We have to know what it means.
Ongeluk.
It doesn't say on the side. Ongluk.
As I did it? No.
Yeah. So it's the same thing again. Alright, so.
And the third reason is, in
This is a great
Mitzrayim,
book,
all
huh?
the Jewish people were suffering together.
Zusammen.
In the other exiles, Hashem performed a kindness and spread them out throughout the generations. So not every single Jew was in exile. During the Holocaust, there were some Jews who lived in America. They were not affected at all by the Holocaust. And then, I don't know if they didn't care about it, but they were not affected as well. And that was the mercy of Hashem. Hashem gave half the Jewish nation to not be affected by the exile. During the destruction of the Second Temple, half the Jews were not there. They were in India, they were in China, they were in different countries, in Europe.
Destruction of second temple?
Babel.
I said
Babel, yeah?
there were people in Babel. I mean, they were not every Jew was destroyed. This time, every single Jew was in one basket. Every single Jew. There was the head of the Hamas said, "I wish all the Jews would go to Israel, so it'd be easier target."
Esau was a Jew. He wasn't there.
Yes, it was a Jew.
He's got the right idea.
But before Mount Torah, so then
He's got the right. Yeah.
Except that
Ron
he
Kabana,
wouldn't
very
target
good.
us. Would be targeting himself.
Aha. In Mitzrayim sind alle Juden gewinnt zusammen, right? He said in the rest of the Galus, like it says in Razal, Asa Kadosh Baruch Hu so Tzedakah Asa. He did that he spread them by the nations. So it was mercy that he spread them to the nations.
Is this the same Sikha? Same Sikha?
I'll give it to you.
Not word for word.
In Mitzrayim, all the Jewish people were summoned together. In the other exiles, Hashem performed kindness and spread them out throughout the nations. So that if a Jew was oppressed, one person escaped. Over here, 3 million Jews were able to leave Egypt.
They walked out in the middle of the day.
In the middle of broad daylight. They wanted them to leave in the middle of the night. They didn't want them. So we're going to go in broad daylight. That was the first and last uprising in the entire country of Egypt.
That's basic.
So despite all these hardships that the Jews were going through, they had yeshivas. That's what the main point we're trying to understand of it. They had yeshivas where they learned Torah and did mitzvahs. They had a place where they could call their own. They had a place, even when they were getting beaten by the whip, they knew they could go at night, they could go to yeshiva, and then Rabbi Goldberg's going to give a shir. Mamish. Rabbi Goldberg's shir. Wow.
So he's working the whole day.
What?
I'm gonna go to Rabbi Gold.
Working a whole day, and 12 o'clock at night, Rabbi Goldberg gives his shir. 8 o'clock at night, Tanya shir. Right?
Every night?
Whatever, I'm just saying for
Okay.
example.
Right,
Yeah.
they don't even see all the Shrev-Kite.
Man hat schein gerät mehrere Mal as teure is nit chas v'sholem kein hesserich Buch nor
History.
history book. Oh,
I think it's
history book. Nor jeder Indien und Sipur afilo jeder und von teure is an Einwegen und jeder Zeit und Erd. As we have mentioned many times, the Torah is not a story of the past. It is not a history book. Just because it sounds like a history lesson, the Torah could have added many, many, many more things. But it limits it to only things
nice.
that are relevant to our lives. Every part of it is relevant to our lives. The Torah doesn't just say a history story about some guy named Moses and some guy named Abraham and some guy named Jacob. Abraham, Yitzhak, Yaakov, Moshe, Shlomo, David. That's not what it's talking about. This is not a history book. This is a relevant lesson in our personal lives. He uses this to explain to you through the lessons of our forefathers, lessons in our life. Take it to practical life. These lessons are applied in all places and all times. It's not limited to the time of Egypt. People say, what do I need to know about Egypt? I'm not a slave. But you could be slave in your own realms. You could be slaves to your computer. You could be slaves to drugs. You could be slaves to your boss. You could be slaves to your life. There's a lot of things you could have being in slavery. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And every part of the Torah is there for a reason. It's not there as a storybook. Some people may be under the impression that times have changed and therefore no longer need yeshivas in the same way we used to. You know, we're more liberal, we're more intellectual, sophisticated, mathematical, everything. The world is already in a place where we don't need to learn, they say. Because we know how to live in a society, know how to live without God, without Torah. Or maybe I can believe in God without the Torah. It's obvious there's a God. Why do I need Torah to tell me that?
I'm spiritual.
It's obvious that I'm a spiritual person. Why do I need to learn? I feel spiritual. I feel connected to God. I had an epiphany.
I smoked a joint.
I smoked a joint. I had some mushrooms. I see God. But we must learn from the Jewish people of Mitzrayim. Despite all their hardships and difficulties, now we're free in America. It's free mamish. We can do whatever we want. And we're saying, we don't need yeshivas. No, the opposite. In Mitzrayim, where they were slaves, they did yeshivas. They weren't afraid. In Russia, when they had communism, we made a yeshiva, even though we know we could get the death penalty just for learning Torah. And we would do it. We'd have the yeshiva. We'd not be afraid. They did not make calculations of whether it's difficulty, it's too much responsibility, I'm working all day, I'm tired, tired.
Can't be bothered.
Can't be bothered. Like Yudalev says, I can't be bothered. But the second a girl comes in the room, I have plenty of time. I can get out, I can go on a date, no problem. Let's go to the movies. But when it comes to Torah, can't be bothered. Torah is the most deepest thing in the world, the most essential thing. You think you think a guy worked for 20 hours a day and slept for 4 hours a night? You think he had time to learn? But he did. He took 4 hours of sleep and slept 3.5, or slept 3.
Question: the Levim were the only ones who were learning Torah, though, no?
Yeah, but all the Jews would come to the Levim Yeshiva
Oh yeah.
at night.
Uh-huh.
Or
But during the day, Levim would
learn all that. Yeah.
I don't know who was the contact.
Same vibe.
Furthermore, they did not calculate the levels to which their Torah learning would reach. And say, well, let me see. I learned this much Gemara, this much Mishnah. It's okay. I must be an Eloi now. I must be a genius by now, right? They didn't calculate. They learned. What's the Torah gonna do for me? That's what people always say. What the Torah's gonna do for me? I learned for 6 months. How come I don't know Hebrew? You know?
Yeah, that's a problem.
I learned for 5 years in yeshiva. I can't read Gemara. What's going on?
Why am I so stupid?
Why am I dumb? Because that's not the reason why we learn. We don't learn in order to be the great man. As we mentioned previously, the Torah learning of the time did not reach the levels that it would after Matan Torah. Furthermore, certainly we can't start to make calculations. They, who didn't have the Torah, essentially, they did have certain parts of the Torah because they had from Nevuah, from prophecy, but they did not actually know all the details. But yet they worked hard to learn the Torah, and they didn't reach such a high level because they get such a small level of Torah, and they still were getting involved in. We have so much more potential. We have Chassidus, we have Torah, we have the Vim, we have Ksuvim, we have the oral Torah, the written Torah. We have everything in the palm of our hand.
Yeah.
In the palm of our hand.
Whole world in his hand.
The whole Torah. With a click of a button. And yet we complain. We don't know nothing. We don't know nothing. We can't learn. I don't have time. But I have time to play video games for 16 hours. But I don't have any time. And then I have time to be on the phone for another 16 hours, but I don't have time. I have time to smoke a cigarette.
You suck at this.
What? What are you up to?
And I have time to make money, but I don't have any time to learn. Everybody thinks this way.
You up to Bob? Is that... What are you up to?
I think your phone's broken.
My phone's broken?
Yeah.
You have too many IOUs in this push.
It's only IOUs. How do you think I pay my rent? IOU.
Pennies on the dot. What are you up to, Bob or Zion?
Let me finish.
Zion?
No, design.
So we're up to Vav. We just got up to Vav. Who wants to read Vav? Want to read Vav?
Read in English.
Yeah, it's all read in English.
English. Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you
He just read in English.
for the donation to the slave fund.
This is Chabad
This,
of Crown Heights.
this is for the slaves in Egypt. You see? Okay, good.
You can give tzedakah at night time. Is it allowed?
Don't ask questions. Just do it.
That's bullshit. Levels? I heard it.
Or you can do
You
it.
shouldn't do tzedakah at night.
But
Mitzvah is only by day.
but Koch Nefesh, you always have to give tzedakah.
Right.
It's,
You see,
it's the questions.
you see
How are
peddlers
women
in-
obligated in tzedakah if it's only by day?
Are they obligated to that?
Wait, he's reading. Like,
You really don't. You want me?
I don't want that thing flying. Just point
point
it.
it at,
I can't eat, so they point it at him.
point it at the crowd.
Is anybody watching this?
Alright, can you start?
Only one guy.
Yeah?
Sure, Durkin.
Okay. The same
And he's
applies
probably
to
the only one who's ever gonna watch it.
supporting yeshivas like Chabad of
Crown
Crown
Heights.
Heights. There are those who claim that conditions are tight, quote unquote, in the head and tight in the pocket. When conditions will improve and they will be much more comfortable, they will support a yeshiva, perhaps manifest mysterious nefesh by sending their own children to the yeshiva up to the age of 13. These people must be told, in Egypt the Gulf was far worse. There, our ancestors did not even have stubble for bricks and had to wander through a foreign land to search for it, while Paro's taskmasters stood over them, lashing out with their whips. Nonetheless, there was no straw, but they had yeshivas. Nonetheless, there was no straw, but they had yeshivas.
We didn't have straw.
They didn't have
He
straw.
had to collect straw by himself.
Oh yeah, that was later because of Moshe.
Yeah. But, so I thought this Gullus was the worst, the one that we're in. No, but it's not.
We have the Rebbe.
You got
We're
Wisdom.
dark, you see.
We have the worst spiritual Gullus. No.
You had Moshe. Moshe was like the rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't have the Torah, so sucked.
Yeah.
We have more, even us, we have more spiritual resources. than
We have way more
Yeah, that's
resources
true.
than they had in Egypt.
Wow, I always thought that this Gullus was the
We have
worst.
Google.
Never
We have
thought-
Rabbi Google,
But
Rebbitzin
the-
Google.
But
Yeah.
the darkness is much worse now.
The darkness can be
Goals.
worse, but we have more information than they ever had.
Yeah, but we don't use it.
We could learn what the biggest sages in those days couldn't learn. We can understand stuff that the biggest sages in those days couldn't understand. Because we actually had the Torah. They don't actually have the Torah.
They weren't
They have
commanded
the
to
concepts
Torah.
of the Torah.
Yeah.
They have the concepts of the Torah, but they never had the actual words of the Torah. They had the teachings, ideas.
That's what you think.
Continue, baby.
Alright, the Gemara discusses whether it is worse to pass a place of blatant immorality or of idol worship. Like, I guess place of blatant or immorality would be like a prostitution house or something. I
Prostitute.
don't know. Prostitute.
Prostitution.
Like the White House. That was the capital.
Yeah.
The capital of prostitution, Washington.
Or,
Immorality.
The whorehouse.
The house of immorality.
so,
Shlomo doesn't like that. Shlomo likes Washington. Shlomo, you gonna be a politician when you get older?
when you grow up,
Run for Congress? You gonna run for Congress? District 9?
who was that Jewish lady? That Jewish judge lady?
Yeah, she became a judge last Friday.
Yeah,
That's because she's in Borough Park and everybody's from in Borough Park, so it's very easy to get from her.
she's a lady.
She's only over the from neighborhoods. Borough Park, Flatbush, and Kensington.
What about Crown Heights?
I think she's Kings County Civil Court judge.
What?
Yeah, for a certain district.
No, she's in the entire from area. Not like 40% of her district is from. So she only need another 5% from the
She
non-religious
was
guys.
running against a firm guy
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
in the primary.
So the Chiddush is that she's a lady, I guess. Not that she's from.
Democrat or Republican?
Only that.
She's gonna be more strict.
Borough Park is all Democrats, yeah?
Yes.
What if one day she gets a period and she gets so angry? That's it.
People will die. Heads will fly.
He's already over 50.
He's over 50. You're not allowed to be a judge until you're 50. For women.
Can a woman be a judge? I'll be
Yeah.
judge.
You're being watched by women right now.
Oh
Live.
God, I love women are good. God
Thank you.
bless women.
I bet some lady's gonna find this in 10 years
Yeah.
from now. Like, tell your kids, like, what the heck?
Hi, Joy.
The Gemara discusses whether it's worse to pass a place of blatant immorality or of idol worship. It would seem that passing a place of immoral conduct is harmful because the visual experience may later arouse undesirable thoughts, even if at the time of perception there was no improper thoughts.
So what you trying to say?
So, even because if you walk past a place of blatant immorality, then it stays with you in your thoughts. But what could be wrong with passing by a place of idol worship? The argument of a harmful visual experience does not apply, because there's only the perception of wood and stone.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So when you're passing an idol
Single
worship
available.
place,
Stupid Bremer, right?
you just see a place. You just see wood and stone. You don't see like immoral
You
images.
can't have it
Give me orange juice.
Yeah, I'm trying to listen.
In fact, however, everything has an effect on its environment. The very presence of impurity permeates the environment with impurity, which in turn may have an adverse effect on the person.
Here in the Gita, she just says gas von Zainis.
What does that mean? Gas mean?
By idols can be very damaging.
Yeah,
So what?
even spiritual.
So why is the idols worse?
Because it's it has an
When a,
effect on the
when a person
spiritual
walks
atmosphere.
through that environment, the impurity that was created by the idols can be very damaging. When you walk into a whorehouse, you're gonna get hurt. Even if you don't do nothing, you just walk through. I didn't do nothing, but somebody saw you come out, so you know.
But he's saying the idols is more damage.
Of course, because the idol has impurity.
But the idol doesn't have the visual. Is what he's saying.
Does or doesn't?
Does not. You just see wood and stone, but nevertheless, since it's so impure and has so much,
But it could damage you still.
yeah, has a more spiritual effect.
If you go in a bad place, you could get hurt. It's a fact.
But the question is, what's worse?
Oh.
So why does he say idols is worse?
I think he's saying when you're actually there, the idol worship place is worse because it has a negative effect on the environment. But when you leave the place, then you can have machshavas zaros because you went to the whorehouses. So delicately put it.
No, let's not use that.
It doesn't say
Yeah,
whorehouse.
okay.
Let's say white house.
Gas von
What?
Zainis.
It says bad places.
Both start with a W and an H. And, yeah.
It's just a place where people behave. If you go to Times Square, you could have bad thoughts.
Right.
You go to a place like Times Square, you go to a movie theater, you
He
can
says
have,
exactly. What do you mean?
go to a bar. Do it. You don't have to.
The
That's
Gemara is
any place that's not pure.
Blatant immorality. What
Waar
is
is
it?
People do
arger
bad things
vorbei
there.
zu gehen? Waar is arger vorbei zu sein? Zu gehen? Durch ein Gas von Zainis? Oder vorbei an Avodah Zarah?
What is a gas? What's a gas? A house?
What's worse, inappropriate places or idol worshipping houses? That's the question.
Yeah.
What's worse, a place where people pray to idols, or a place, yeah, you know, they meditate with the idols, or a place where people walk around very uncomfortable, very not appropriate?
Oh, both of them are bad.
What's worse? That's the question. What's worse?
What are you saying on the
What am I trying to say?
When a person sees people behaving
that's what-
inappropriately, right, he would be tempted to do the same thing. When a kid, like one time, I banged my hand on the table like this, my kid went like this. Why? Because that's what kids do. That's what you do. when you see I'll be back Arnold Schwarzenegger, you want to be like him. You want to get muscles. You know why you want to get muscles?
Only German.
You're never gonna get muscles like that. But why you want to be, you know, up? Because you saw him do it, and he looks big. He
I
looks
saw
nice.
him in a Western movie, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
I was watching a Western movie, I go, oh my god, how can I that guy?
He's gonna say get to the chopper, you know, and that's it.
Chopper.
Everyone's
Arnold
saying-
Schwarzenegger is like in the Lego.
However, when a person sees idols, however,
Really tight.
essentially he's only being exposed to wood, stone. It's nothing. It's a piece of garbage. It's a rock. How's a rock gonna hurt me? It's a stone. It's an idol. It's a glass. That's what he's saying. No, that's what he's saying. Like, it's a glass. How are you gonna get affected by glass? It's stone. There's
No,
no.
we just said that
there's nothing in it.
Impure
So
effect
that's what
on
you
the
would
atmosphere.
think.
Yeah.
But he says.
How can you even compare the two? That's the question. That's what the Rebbe's that's what the Gemara is asking. The Gemara said this
Yeah.
discussion. It's not the Rebbe.
Gemara is not asking the question.
Okay, but the Rebbe's asking the question. The Gemara.
Wait, what are you saying?
So he's explaining
Okay,
why
you saw it?
going by a place of idol worship is
Check
a
it out
bad
when
thing.
you're ready, when you're free.
Like for sure, okay, we can understand about going
Because
to
they have a
God's
negative effect on the
Right,
atmosphere
exactly.
around them. When you walk into a place like that, you start to feel
No,
certain
no, no,
feelings that you would have
Yeah.
never felt if you didn't
Or
go to the idol.
it has an effect on you that you don't.
You
that you
feel
might
the
not even
impurity
know.
upon yourself. You
You might
feel
not even
it.
feel it, but it's happening. Right.
Your soul is and guf, a body and soul, in order to generate that the soul remains connected to the body and continues to give life. There are two things that are necessary: food and oxygen. So if you breathe in the wrong influence,
Right.
you get affected by it.
So should I continue? It says the Rebbe
Because
says
eating is only done a few
Yeah.
times a day,
Oh, so the Rebbe's
but
bringing
the
the
eating
nimshal
affects
now.
you a whole day. But the ear itself, if you
somebody's
go
crying.
The Rebbe's gonna say the nimshal now. This was all the.
This is all the Gemara is the mushal, I guess.
Yeah, like. So what does that mean now?
Right.
Like,
So he says, what am I trying to say? A prevalent atmosphere and attitude that the present is not a time for yeshivos has affected even some yeshiva students. So I guess he's saying like.
Let's see what you do here. Guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Prevalent atmosphere and attitude that the present is not a time for yeshivos. It's like more of a spiritual
The
impact.
atmosphere, the impurity created by the idol.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Like yeshiva students today, they think they can't commit to Torah study because they have to think about making money.
Right. They're being negatively
Yeah,
affected
fine.
by the atmosphere.
They're worried how they're gonna support a wife and children when they're married. Greenwald. Stop making money.
Meanwhile, doesn't want to go to yeshiva because he wants to make money.
They're worried about what they're gonna leave as an inheritance.
They're worried what they're going to take to the next world with them. How much money they can.
Because of all their worries, their mind is not found in learning, but rather in the street. Oh, you're running out of battery.
I plugged in before. Oh, you can get my sheet there?
Some students argue that it is
Why
difficult to
you make
study
it so complicated, so clear?
properly because they
Me?
must
'Cause that
first
sounds cooler.
assure themselves of a livelihood. Fine. Just kidding. I don't know.
Everything applies only.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry. Chas v'shalom, man. Yeah.
give the
Your
kid.
baby's watching you. Smoking crack.
No, it's his.
You want some? Okay. Sure. Okay.
You're throwing some crack.
Yeah. It sounded like
Alright.
Calm down with it.
What did the Friedrich Rebbe say?
free gravity.
No, you didn't get to that.
They will eventually attain marriageable age and will find a suitable bride, become engaged and marry, and then enjoy some blessed time. They will have children. They worry now already about how to support their children, with which the Abishur will bless them in due time, and this prevents them from studying in peace.
Squeeze.
Squeeze what?
Peace or squeeze?
It's going, it's going. Moreover, they are already concerned about an estate to bequeath their children after passing on.
What are you worried about inheritance?
Yeah, they're already worried about giving a rusha to their kids after they die, and they're only in yeshiva. Yeah. Now, obviously, with an attitude like this, they are already, in mind at least, out in the street searching for a livelihood. From where do such thoughts enter the mind of yeshiva students? From the atmosphere of their environment. The Rebbe, my father-in-law, said the ice in America has already begun to melt.
The melting pot. They call America the melting pot.
Global warming.
He's saying that America, you think is cold, it's already begun to melt.
Yeah.
Global warming.
Already began to melt. Nonetheless, there's a vast difference between the ice melting and having come to a boiling point by the eternal. Your God is a consuming fire.
So Hashem is God is a fire.
Yeah. Rebbe is not satisfied that the ice should just be melting. He wants it boiling. He wants it to be boiling. Moreover, there still are some remnants from the previous condition of iciness and activity, and the type of students mentioned in effect reach out to join those remnants.
Very nice.
So yeshiva
Explain it.
students should
Explain
reach-
about yeshiva students. Explain
what
that
was the
part.
last sentence? Can you say it again?
There's still some effect of the iciness from previous like 100 years in America in this environment, and the people that people in the yeshiva that might be attracted to that iciness and negativity, and that's why there's kind of a negative environment in yeshivas that's so tachlis minded, tachlis oriented. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think it stopped.
What?
No.
Stop.
I don't know.
Stopped a long time ago.
It only gives you 10 minutes? It only gives you 10 minutes?
No,
after?
it should continue.
You're not even
indefinitely.
connected to the internet, man.
That's works.
It's working?
Yeah. You'll watch it later. Check it out on YouTube. Check it out to see if it's working.
What's it called?
Roots for Life.
There it goes again.
I thought it only shows up once you stop the video. When does it show up on your
No,
channel?
it shows up right away. 2
Roots
minutes,
for
1
Life.
minute later.
Okay, Ches. Almost finished the last time. No?
Yeah,
For this part. Limud Schus is Taka Daif Zai.
Menachem Trump wants to know if you should come to the class.
Trump?
Of course you should come.
He said he'll only come if there's white fish, salad, and olives.
Who is this guy?
Menachem Trump. You don't know Menachem Trump?
No.
What?
What is it? It's called Roots for Life?
Why does he want olives?
I'm getting a bunch of black people here.
Okay, give me some.
Like a Jamaican.
Roots, the roots.
Was it a
4.
number 4 or no?
Roots for Life live stream.
No, just
Live. I see.
no. You spelled it right.
Life, not like living, or live?
L-I-F-E.
Live. V-E. Instead of an F, a V.
No,
Live.
that's not what he. That's not.
That's
Again,
what-
but
No. You have to search for channels, not video. You did it correctly before. It's Roots for Life. It's search.
With the V, right?
Continue, no?
Hi, give me this thing. You
Why do I
switch.
search for things?
Give me what you say.
Here we go. I found it.
Okay, got a few more
You're
minutes.
scaring me,
to write the
Jaime.
budget.
You're ruining my reputation with these videos.
You can hear it?
45 minutes ago.
How's your wife doing, guys?
It's still going? It's live?
Can we pass the water? Can we pass the water? See, sir. Please pass the water.
What?
It's not soda water. It's a tonic.
Seltzer.
Someone overrode your program.
I know what they call it down under.
No, this is tonic water. I think it's tonic water.
Yeah, that's
It's
it left from video to go to the
got it.
Okay, can we stop?
You got hacked.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're
we
almost
finished
done.
the
We're
last
almost done.
You got hacked?
Not to get hacked. That was the previous video.
Alimut Schus ist Taka Daif Zai, als das kommt von der Atmosphäre von der Sviva-Kanal. Aber es darf doch nicht sein so, und ich da auf dem ist da Haramia now. Right? They have you could be Melamed Schus. You can have these students have an excuse for their attitude. Why they feel that way, that they have to everything about making money, because it's the atmosphere that surrounds them. But still, it doesn't have to be that way. And you could learn from what we learned before about Mitzrayim. In Mitzrayim is also the was is given zaira schwer galus kanal is man given a sehr stark the dricket as man hat gar nicht vernommen a machshava wegen a reisgehen von galus.
It's live.
Beshas Moshe Rabbeinu hat a ganzen die Besura Sagula is veloi shamu el Moshe meketz ruach ma'aveda kasha und für das wegen is a filo eider Moshe is gekommen und gesagt Pakarity hat man nicht getracht Cheshbainis. Was wird man de Tachlis noch meis gesessen in Yeshivas und gelernt. Is me kalsche kein jetzt der darf nicht eingehen in den Kopf, was wird dir sein der Tachlis. Und man darf sitzen und lernen mit nicht trachten kein Cheshbainis. Right? So we can learn. Galus in Mitzrayim was so difficult that the Jewish people, they didn't even dream that they would ever leave. Right? That when Moshe Rabbeinu came to tell them that they're going to be redeemed, they didn't believe him. Right? When he said Pakarati.
Yeah.
Because they were under such oppression that they didn't even dream that they would ever leave.
No dream.
So you well, even when Moshe Rabbeinu comes and says that you'll be redeemed, they didn't believe him. So even though they were on such a level of oppression, they insisted on keeping the yeshivas open. They weren't thinking about the future of the faith. These people, they never had a dream for the future that they're gonna get out. What are they keeping the yeshivas for? They're never gonna have a place that they can keep Torah and mitzvahs. Because in the time they were, it didn't even enter into discussion that they would ever leave. So even under such oppression, they insisted on keeping the yeshivas open. They weren't thinking about what's going to happen in the future of their faith. How much more so now, we must not be preoccupied with what happens in the future, which we shouldn't, like the Rebbe says here, was wird sein der Tachlis. Like, we shouldn't say what's going to be Tachlis. Let's talk Tachlis. We should only commit ourselves to the study of Torah. I have one more thing. Yeah, Chaim, do the last thing.
Spiritual sparks descended into this world in order for us to elevate them. Right after the sin of the Eitz Hadas, right? The fruit of knowledge that they ate. When God created the world, He broke the vessels, and the 202 of those were elevated in Mitzrayim, of the 288, leaving only 86 remaining. Throughout the years of Jewish history, with blood and tears, many of those remaining 86 sparks have also been elevated. Those remaining, only a small amount left for us to do. And those sparks that have already been elevated helped us with our current avodah. So everything that affects us in this world, everything the reason why we're still in this exile is only for that little bit of dust left. The little bit of sparks that we have to elevate. And the Rebbe says now actually that we have fulfilled that mission of the sparks, and now there's nothing left for us but to go to Melech HaMashiach, take for me Amamish, to bring Mashiach here and then Mashiach.
So that's
the
the
point
Thank you
Tachlis.
very much.
So the whole point is that a person has to realize that you're not alone in this world.
Well, you think you missed the
And
last,
the Torah
last
in mitzvahs.
last little part.
Yeah, I said 288 sparks were descendants of this world.
Yes.
Already 202 elevated in Mitzrayim.
That's it.
And the Rebbe said now in Tufshin and Beis that the
We
sparks
have elevated all the sparks.
Elevated
But the point is,
the 86,
how do we survive the gullahs? How do we survive all these things? We have to keep Torah and learn mitzvahs. How do we do that? We have to go to yeshiva. We have to open places of education and educate our kids, educate the people around us of the Torah's knowledge and of the mitzvahs. And if we do that, we're going to be able to bring Mashiach, we're going to be able to elevate all the sparks, and we're going to be able to overcome all the impurities of the world, all the temptations of the world. And this Torah will be a prevention and will be a guide through the obstacle course of the world, of your life. So if you don't have any Torah, you have no meaning in life. And you're not going to do anything good. You're not going to do anything. You might do good, but it won't be meaningful. So you want to have a meaningful life, you have to learn.
Like the last point, that the sparks that were already elevated, they help us with our current avodah.
And then the Rebbe says that all the sparks that were elevated affect us.
Yeah.
That helps us. L'chaim, l'chaim. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Same time, same station. How do we turn it off?
To another.
Thank you.
Alright. Same bad time, same bad channel.
Let's see this.
Just like so. Close the window.
I put it Make America Great Again. That's the name of the video. The name of the video.